Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installation of It's a Little Bit. It came from the workbench because short story, very long. This gentleman's name is Rusty. Rusty is the wrong way to do a TRX-4. What you do is you start with a TRX-4 Defender, and the first thing that you do is you buy an Hobbywing Axe V2 550 3300 kV and find out, oh great, now my TRX-4 does 25 miles an hour in second gear. So you labor with this and you fight with the decisions that you've made. And then you fast forward about 2 years and someone makes a comment on a video where they're like, well, why don't you just turn it into a TRX-6? And a light so bright appears that it blinds you. And then you begin accruing parts from Jenny's and Amazon and Amen and wherever you, eBay, I had to buy one of the truss parts off eBay. Wherever you get your parts from, you begin amassing them. And then you begin to convert your TRX-4 into a TRX-6. And actually, at the time, it costs about $200, between $200 and $250. It's not including a body, but it's not that bad. And it did make better use of that 3300 until we would fast forward about another 2 years and then convert that 6x into something else again entirely, because, as is said, they are never done. So you notice that on one side of the bench, imagine there's a different vehicle here. Okay, no, imagine there's a vehicle here. You're building the vehicle here, and you notice that you're amassing these parts. Chassis rails, and inner fenders, and all of those things. And then the next thing you know, you have enough of those parts to just build a whole nother vehicle out of it. So this was very early on. Rusty has been here. This is, of course, Rusty. You know he's Rusty because he's got a blue fender and a primer door. Rusty is one of the very early members of the Canyon fleet. We put on links that fit. I believe these are mostly in the rear. I believe it's almost exclusively Capra links. And then we've got some high clearances in the front for clearance there. You notice he's a little scratched up on the bottom. These are indeed the chassis rails from the first crawler I ever bought. The TRX-4 Defender that I bought during a caffeine-fueled bout of insomnia. These are the sliders and the fenders that were from that TRX-4, the Defender prior to the clipless body attachment system. So then, if you want to do it incorrectly, this is even his old rear bumper, which has the holes for where the Defender body goes in. If you want to do it incorrectly, then what you do is you put straight axles on it. And initially, he was on AR-45s. And then some point, which I can't even recall, he got F10s. So he got a pair of F10s on there. No knuckle weights. No nothings. Just, there he is. 393 Bounty Hunters. Stock, the stock shocks, which still feel surprisingly good after, God, it has to be around 4 years. Those are the RC four-wheel drive sliders that were on the TRX-4. They have definitely met some rocks. I'm an enemy of rock sliders, but Rusty, as he sits, and why I say that this is the incorrect way to do it is because that gearbox, that TRX-4 gearbox, and that is indeed the 2-speed gearbox, still with a Traxxas 2065, which was removed from that Defender, still chugging along. This is the wrong way to do it because that gearbox in low gear does not have nearly enough gear reduction to slow this guy down. It just doesn't. He's very fast. As a result, this is a Flash Hobby Turbo 3548 Evo 760 kV. The lowest kV motor I could find at the time to try to slow him down. Rhino V80 operating it, so it's definitely putting enough power out of the BEC to run this 35 kg Amazon Blue case. So, what Rusty is going to get right here, right now, is a full-on Canyon change. He's going to get the full Canyon change because I had noticed that Deluxe has this skid, and in my head, when I ordered it, it said OD3. It did not. It is designed for the Nod 2 or the Ultralight. But my brain was already set on OD3. And the Nod and the Ultralight are built for portals. They don't really have enough reduction for straight axles. The OD3 does. 18% out, regular out the front. Should line the drive shafts up pretty much perfectly. We're going to have some little hoops, but we should not have to move any link positions. I am most likely going to replace the lower links completely. We'll put some little high clearance ones on there. We'll get the links because I don't have to disassemble these links. I can just make new ones. So what I did is, because it doesn't match, I just got a piece of aluminum and I made an adapter plate. And you'll notice it is at a very slight angle. And you'd think, oh, he did it wrong. No. The skid is originally at a very light angle to turn it a little bit. And I believe that is to keep this drive shaft out of the travel path of this link and get this guy a little bit more in the center. So I just basically tried to replicate the way it was intended to go. That is a skid that has seen some stuff. I'm also thinking about, we've got a couple of options. Could just put could go from the 35 to a 45, or we can go, I'm thinking probably the Flash Hobby 45. It's going to depend on the fitment. Like, how does it sit? It's about stack height. It would be real easy to just drop this one in. I don't want to put this, like, how is their stack heights? And actually, it's probably well close enough. I don't think we'll have any issues. So I can go either way. I don't think it's necessary to go up to a 60 kg as he's running 393s. Well, he's running 393s in this moment. The plan is, in the spirit of the Canyon Change, our good friend, Class 1 Tusks, the only question, the question that runs in my head, and he is going to get a healthy dose of lemon pledge, because he's quite dirty. We're going to have to remount the speed control because we won't be able to mount it on the gearbox anymore. And we'll have in the bins another TRX4 gearbox in need of a rebuild. Like, I think we're going to be very close. We're going to be close. This is all on the heels of a recent head-to-head where Rusty, the OG, went up against Voodoo Ranger, the newest of the Class 1.5 builds, and it became abundantly clear that the combination of inner fenders, 393s, the steel front bumper that has seen all of the things. That steel front bumper, by the way, has bent these chassis rails. And I noticed that about 18 months ago. Had to completely disassemble Rusty, bend his frame rails back. They were fully like that, because when this got stuck in, that does indeed provide enough power to just twist him sideways. So he's in fair shape, okay? He needs a cleanup. He needs a going through. I don't think... Those are Mia's hexes on there. I don't think he really needs any... Like, I don't think he needs knuckle weights. I don't think he needs a change in any of his spring rates or anything like that. I just realized that these wheels are the type with the screws through the lock nuts, which is going to prompt me to dig through the bin. I don't want to take those apart. I don't want to take those apart and remount them. I would genuinely prefer to just set these up on the rack, take another pair of wheels, mount them into these tusks, and just be done with it. It's not like we're talking about a massive change. How much? That's green for you. Like, it's that much bigger. I think he's gonna be fine. We might on the day. Let me look around. We might on the day end up on a set of placeholder wheels. See, those are deep. So I was gonna say we could throw them on some blingy chromes. I just need some 1.9s. I will dig around the bins. I did not anticipate. These have been on here for so long. The foams are really starting to break down, and you need all the height you can get out of a 393, because these were probably behaving more like a, what do we got? These are like, if I put just a little bit of deflection on this, these are 92 millimeters tall. 3 and, what's 20, 30 seconds? 5/16? That's just above 3 1/4. This will be a massive change. But I think that this will be a more massive change. The only real issue is, in the process of disassembly, I have to take both of the axles off. I have to take both of the axles off because I have zero recollection of what he's running in terms of overdrive and underdrive. I doubt I would have put an overdrive in the front axle. I might have put an underdrive in the rear axle, and I don't want to run him at 28%. So if he's got an 833 back there, I have to remove that and put an 830, or get another. Well, I got to figure out what the gear ratios are. I got to get to a calculator. I got to get into what the gear ratios are. I would like to run an 1800. The goal at this point, come on. The goal at this point is an old Revit 1850, which is basically footprint-wise indistinguishable from a secure 3625 1800. He's not super heavy. I do anticipate I'm going to say there's only 2 screws in this motor mount. Yeah, I was going to say I anticipate a 12 tooth because this is, as was mentioned, a drone motor. So the drone motors come with no flats. So you got to get your grinding wheel out and grind a flat, and it's difficult to fit anything smaller than a 12. Yeah, that's not too bad for a guy with a Dremel and a file. You see the little where the E-clip goes after you put the propeller part on. So yeah, 760 kV. The higher kV you have, the more power you make. And I don't believe that he really needs power. He's not ultra light, but he's also not heavy. Probably in that... Well, okay, he's lighter than a TRX-4. So that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's a step in the right direction. So, oh look, I sunk some spacers in there to space that out. He's going to have a lot of little peculiarities. Gearbox feels good. We will probably end up having to replace the drive shafts because, if you're unaware, TRX4 drive shafts use a full CVD, and the ball part of the CVD is very large. So when you try to put it on one of these, there's too much material out past the screw hole, and they basically, as soon as you tighten the screw up, they just lock up straight. You can hold it like that, and they'll just go straight up. So he's probably going to need drive shaft replacement. Everything else is basically just going to be cleaning. We're going to find out if we have to lengthen the wires. We're going to find out if we have to move things around. Like if I have to move the receiver box to the other side, it's absolutely fine. I don't have any issues with that. He's just very dusty, very dirty, very scratched up, and I have no intentions of replacing any parts that aren't necessary, that don't need to be replaced. Wow, that is a typical drive shaft from a 393 guy that gets driven around on rocks. Still in pretty good shape overall, doesn't look too bad. So Rusty is absolutely fine with this. Like, I'm not going to pull sliders. I'm not going to pull the bumpers. His biggest issue that he had out on the rocks out here, and he has in his past completed Deadline, and he did fair at Mavericks, if memory serves. We're not here to change him fundamentally. We're here to make what I regard to be an outright improvement, because he needs gear reduction. There's a reason that the SSD straight axle conversions for TRX4 were not widely sold and are not widely seen, because you put a straight axle on it and then you do everything in your power to find a powertrain combo that is going to slow the vehicle down enough to make it usable. I mean, it just, yeah, it looks like it was molded in tan. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drop the axles. I'm gonna drop the axles off because I want to just clean the shocks. I'm not even gonna rebuild them or fill them. I'm just gonna drop the shocks. I am also going to find some wheels. I'm just going to basically, this is how I do it. We get out this guy, and we go like this, and we come up here to about right there. It's about 16 and a half millimeters. I just want a wheel that sits about the same as this one, and then we're going to put tusks on it. Because I was going to go in stages, right? I was going to put the gearbox in with the motor, and then I was going to take him out and drive him and go, oh, well, you know, what do we think about that? But then, like, that compliance helps, but, like, it's too much. He's touching the ground. These will most likely get repurposed to something on a portal, because I do like the Bounty Hunter. It's such a weird little tire. But I don't have a foam that specifically fits a tire that. I mean, they just disappeared. No, there they are. I don't have a tire that fits a foam that fits a tire that small. So, in its place, we know. This is an absolutely proven quantity. We know tusks work. And man, I just keep seeing these out of the corner of my eye, and that front drive shaft has seen some stuff. I wonder what did that groove. I don't know. Drive shaft? Something was really working in there. All right, get these axles pulled, get the shocks pulled, just for cleaning purposes. Check the status of the rings and pinions. Do they need grease? How do they look? Drop this skid in there. Well, I'm going to mount a motor first. So we'll do a little math and determine what we need in terms of what we think of gearing. And then he'll look a little cleaner in just a moment. I know. Typically, when you see the little cross dissolve and you come back in and it's all cleaned off, you're like, well, he finished it again. No, not this time. It has been a series of interlocking debacles, moving me through the normal stream of time, which does not appear because it appeared only as a transition. Firstly, we went through all the drawers and measured basically every wheel. Give me a dang wheel. Taking a caliper, putting it into the hex, and then kind of guesstimating where that face is. About 10 millimeters. Some are 9, some are 11, some are 11 and a half. There's no standard to this. The problem is that wheel, as close as can be approximated, is around 14 is where I came up. What I had to do is pull the rubber down, go right about there, just under 15, between 14 and 15. That sounds small, but that's 4 millimeters per side, and we are going from a skinny tire. Any 419 is going to be wider than this. These are, sheesh, these are 35 millimeters wide. You're typically going to come out around 40, 41. Yes, indeed, the foams, their best days are indeed behind them. They look almost petrified. But they are. Like the little star shape, the crazy crawler style, it's working. I like how they dished out. They're like taller at the sides and narrower in the middle. The biggest mistake I made in the day isn't even this. I unmounted one and attempted to mount a tusk on it. I don't know if I had more patience. I don't know if I had magic. I don't know if it's just explicitly the difference between a tire that is 35-ish millimeters wide and a tire that's around 40, 41 millimeters wide. That was ice skating uphill to the point where I just gave up and mounted a wheel and tire solution, which we will get to momentarily, that is not my first, second, third, fourth. It is my last choice. But it's what I got on hand, and we'll be ordering him new wheels that are of the steely style, non-deep, with some really shallow hexes. Even if they're the RC four-wheel drive pin drive hexes, he's going to keep about the same track that he had on these, but with the tusks. And if it's a problem that can be solved with money, it's not a problem. The primary debacle, which is one that can be solved easily, and I did sort of solve it. Let's first, so one of the first debacles came when I had the brilliant idea to swap out that 35 kg for something else. And what I should have done is stuck to my notion of not replacing anything that doesn't explicitly need replaced. But I did that anyway. I did it anyway. And that is on no one other than me. Otis. These are gun cleaning brushes. This is a very firm nylon, and this is a nylon bristle. It's got that little, I don't know what it's for. Our good buddy. Go to your home improvement store and you can get the tall boy cans. And the sum total of what we do is, it's the key is, first off, the pledge. I like the orange scent. And then the other key is a nylon bristled brush with a very stiff bristle, which these are. And what you're doing is you're just getting in all the nooks and crannies. You're getting in there and getting around the screw heads. And then if there's anything super narrow that you can't get in, you got that other little end you can get in there. I was using the same Otis brush from a breakdown cleaning kit that I had for... He's right here. No, he's not. He was right here. Is he right here? I see you, sneaky. You sneaky. And he was a little worse for wear. Still works. That's why I haven't thrown him away. It's a little worse for wear. Then I found out you can buy these on Amazon in like a 12-pack for like $8. So we get to where we are. Now, if you have compressed air, this job is made all that much easier for you. But if you don't, you can either use that same one that you sprayed on, or you can grab another one. They're inexpensive. Good old microfibers. Yeah. Just keep them a wipe down. And you have something that looked a little road weary. And it looks a lot less road weary now. It is the grand total of a gun brush, orange pledge, and a microfiber. Now, I do have compressed air, so I just hit it with a little compressed air and it gets out. Now, you can see he's seen some stuff. 120 grit is my weapon of choice. If you feel across, wherever you feel a bit that feels extra snaggy because it's been really grooved out, you just kind of sand the way you don't sand wood. You know, wood, you go with the grain. We've got no grain here. So you kind of develop a feel. If you've sanded wood for the better part of your life, you get the feel. Like there's a big rat right there. So we'll just knock that down. And you can feel when it quote unquote falls away, where that big rib isn't there anymore. I'm going to clean it up a little. So the biggest was, because I had decided to change that servo, as I was mounting the servo back in, on a TRX4 front end, even if you have changed out the axles to something else, it's very difficult to access the screw that holds the horn onto the servo. So you want to mount the horn, then depower it, turn it 90 degrees, insert the servo, turn it back. So when I turned it, I couldn't remember which way I turned it. So I didn't know if when I powered it up, it was going to swing around and point to the back, right? So I set the Rhino V80 down, which was all taken out of its stuff, disconnected from a motor and everything. And it was plugged into the receiver, which was sitting in the vehicle. We can do a miniature crime scene recreation here. What happened is, I went to set this guy down. I set him down right about like that. The motor was here. The wires were coming out under this one. They were laying right here. And I set that Rhino V80 down on top of it, and I plugged the battery into it. And as soon as I made the press the power button, it made a noise that sounded something like this. Just a little sharp, a little sharper than that. I can't really. Made a sound like that, and I went, oh, we blew it up. And when I picked it up, one of the 4mm bullets was laying right here, still attached to the motor, and it was laying, and the speed control had rested down atop of it. And the underside of the Rhino V80 is just an open board with stuff sticking out. So I bridged two things that should not have been bridged, and no pixies came out. I didn't see any magic smoke, but I heard that pop, and that pop was something that should have been one piece becoming none piece. So I said, worst case scenario, we fried a V80. Not the first time we fried an ESC around here. Best case scenario, we popped the BEC. So I plugged the motor into it, the 760 that used to be in here, and it was doing the tones. Boo-doo-deep, boo-doo-deep, searching for a signal. And I noted that the light in the receiver was not on. So I said, we cooked the BEC. BEC, we cooked it. So, grabbed an old, desoldered that 10 amp from an old Castle Mamba Max, which was sitting in a bin, not even in a drawer, in a bin, and said, maybe that BEC still works. Hooked it up, lo and behold, it does. So we went, instead of the Revit or the Secure while digging bins, Holmes Revolver V2, 1800 kV, and put it in there because it fits. And how did we do our mount when we had to cut all the stuff out? We just cut it off the front. We got double shear, and it mounts with 2 screws. So it should be absolutely all right. The whole front end has been done, sanded, cleaned up, put together. The servo is in the correct position and location. Endpoints have not been set yet. I will probably remember to do that. All 4 rear links have been replaced, and it is very, very easy when you already have the links. These are Vanquish, the uppers. I think they're actually lowers from a stance. And then these are Element. I call them 90s because I measure shoulder to shoulder. They're actually 110s. And then with the Element ends, precisely, because we use our old friend, the RPM shock tool. 132 uppers, 143 lowers. They came out absolutely perfect. I did indeed pre-tap all of the holes on the skid when I mounted it. Went right nice in. I think I've got all of the screws replaced. I think. We'll give you another quick. We'll give you a little quickety quick. We pull this screw out, which is annoying because the screw for the rock light. You know what? We're just gonna take that off. I don't want to deal with that anymore. So we're just gonna more additional weight savings. The weight savings of the skid with the OD3 compared to the skid with the forward piece with the TRX4 gearbox and the servo is substantial. The actual number is unknown, but it is substantial. So here you have a shock that has got some time on it. Those are element whites. Grays in the front, whites in the back is what we're running. We pop that off. We pop the spring off. Ooh, it's building a little, delicious. You know what? It feels pretty good. Feels like it's maybe lost a little bit of its inners. Well, shocks have not been maintained in any way in several years. I got this in a kit for cleaning bike stuff. I don't know why it had a round thing. Handlebars? I don't know what you would clean with it. Anyway, what I do know is it fits pretty perfectly inside of a spring. Thread it down onto the spring just like this and give it a little one of these. And then pull down and look at that. Like it's fresh out of the bag. And again, all we're going to use is our good buddy Pledge and our friend the Otis brush. I will do my very best to remember link in description because I genuinely believe every workspace or toolbox should have some of these in it. We could make a pile several inches high of the number of products that I have tried for this purpose, and none work better than these. Get that last little bit off. I mean, it's turning into a sludge. And then we have a nice, clean, like it's brand new. The cups are often the worst, least fun parts to clean because they always, manufacturers operate as if the shock isn't filled with a liquid and that liquid doesn't like to attach itself to literally everything. So even though the GTS is a shock, much like other Traxxas shocks, does not leak. It doesn't leak. Because you have that silver bit, which spends part of its time out here in the air, and part of its time inside a reservoir filled with, again, that aforementioned fluid. Fluid's going to get out. There's no real way around it. Then you're going to replace the lower ball with the Vanquish specific balls with the little shoulder on it, because for whatever reason, Vanquish chose to make this spacing right here, where the shock goes, 10 millimeter. I know you can, because you can flip it around, you can adjust the shock side to side. Could it just gone single shear? I don't know. Now, my intention was always to remove the receiver box. You know, if we're on a weight savings extravaganza, we might as well be on a weight savings extravaganza. And then when the BEC popped, I was like, well, great. Did I look immediately and go, can we fit a Fusion there? Yeah, if I had redone the front mount, which was already done, we could have put a Fusion 1200 on it. Am I ruling that out? No. Would I prefer to keep it as is? Yes. He's been on an Outrunner forever. And I'm going to tell myself that a Fusion doesn't fit, because I do stand by the philosophy of it. If a Fusion fits, I run a Fusion. So we're just going to operate from the position that a Fusion doesn't fit, because as he sits right now, a Fusion doesn't fit. It would clear the drive shaft. It would clear the upper. It would clear. And actually, I think he'd probably be better off with wrench, with an 1800 Fusion, because we'll, I'll do the math. I'll do the math real quick. I looked up the math for selection of pinion, because it says with an 827 front, and it is worthy of mentioning that this did indeed have an 827 front, but I don't want 28%. So it had an 06 827 up front. Oh, don't tell me. Every time, man. Every time. My whole life is a trial, is what it is. And I'm not going to lie. When I've gotten used to electronics dying. Nothing lives forever. They're supposed to be like that. So when that died, I just went, well, the spilt milk is nothing to cry about. We just keep moving. But when I got to the point of attempting to mount that tire, because nothing in the bin would give me the offset that I wanted, I prayed a little. I mentioned, I might have mentally notioned the sweet release of the eternal hereafter, and almost immediately upon that occurrence, a pine cone hit the roof of the building, and I was like, you know what? We're good. We are good. We're gonna figure this out. So when the hits keep coming, you just roll. You just roll with them. Yeah. Okay. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Is that right? Yeah. There's nothing that can't be fixed with enough mental art of focus. So we just keep putting it together. And despite the fact that I used the old links on the I pulled a link, put it in the link comparator, and built a new link, put it in the link comparator, and when they both said 0, I know I had built the same link twice, and yet as I attach these parts together, my brain is going, you did something wrong. I don't think that's correct, brain. I don't think I did do anything wrong. Well, the servo, the choice to replace the servo, we will determine if that was a bad idea beyond the death of the BEC. Because I didn't kill the whole thing. So, if nothing else, that is the silver lining to which I will cling. And I think that in the theme and scheme of it, that rear could be, I don't remember his drive shaft angle being that straight. But then again, he also wasn't on high clearance links. So, we're here and we're apart. I'm just going to correct it. So at some point, I will disassemble these and throw them in their appropriate bins. But you know what? Been at this for a hot minute. So, not right now. Went from 132 to 136, which is absolutely no problem. And look at that. You have two options here. You can correct it and make it look the way it's supposed to, or you can half-ass it right into the ground. Just leave it like it is. I'm not saying that there are individuals or collectives of individuals that would just leave it as it is, but I am not one to leave it as it is. Cannot leave well enough alone. Part of where we got today was because of an inability to leave well enough alone. I'm truly hoping that this drive shaft is not too long. And I think it is a hair too long. So we go back to the bins and we find what we can. And we find a drive shaft that fits the rear. I think he needs the same length, front and rear. I've not measured it. The front is just under 120, and the rear is about 110. So he actually needs one slightly shorter for the rear. That's, I'm assuming, because of that. I don't know. Driveline looks absolutely fine. The motor is very nearly in the center, just slightly off to the right. So we're putting tusks on it, right? Right. Is that a commitment? Have we committed to that? We absolutely have. The thing was OD3 with like an 1800 outrunner and 419 tusks. As such, there's a 14 tooth pinion in there because the documentation, such as it is, recommends starting with a 12 tooth pinion if running an 827 in the front, which it was but isn't anymore. So I went up 2 teeth to a 1400. Mesh might be a little tight. Stock gears, 830s in the axles. 3.66 to 1 internal reduction. 44 tooth spur, 14 tooth pinion. That gives us a 43, call it 43 to 1. It's like 43.14 or something, on and on and on. So 43 to 1 in an 1800 on an outrunner is probably just fine. He should still have a little bit of that briskness that he did fitted with that gearbox, which has significantly less gear reduction than what is in here now, because we're running a 760, and this 1800 will probably be around the same speed or a little bit slower. So I had to mount 4 tusks, and I had to mount them on wheels that would keep the tires tucked in tight. So we ended up in a place that I did not want to end up, but it allows me to run whatever hub that I want. On a 9mm, a 9/10 on a standard SLW hub, this thing was 21 millimeters. So he would have been 14 millimeters narrower than he was stock. These are just under 16. So we should be about 2 millimeters narrower front and rear. And they are fitted because the wheel is much lighter than another wheel, they are Injora silicones in there. So we get the weight back. Remarkably close. 152 grams for these, which, I mean, is what, 600? It's not a lot in terms of sprung to unsprung. 163. So even with a silicone in it, a silicone compared to that, we pick up 10 grams. So this wheel, significantly lighter than that wheel. Do I want this to be the forever wheel? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But for the purposes of what we're doing right now, for the purposes of getting this thing on the rocks so we can find out, at the very least, if our choices in electronics make any sense, this is where we're going. We're going out on carbon, and I don't feel like it's going to grow on me. They look ridiculous. But I mean, that offset, it does tuck them right in there. Do we bottom out? We bottom out. Not there's 2 millimeters of shock shaft showing when the tire hits the inner fender. I don't even think the body is going to interfere. Because we're not talking about that much taller. I know. I hear you. I'm thinking it as well. It has been a day of catastrophe and calamity. Yeah. 96? Small. 96. 106, 107. 10 millimeters, you pick up half of that. So we're going to get 5 millimeters taller. Then the top of the tire gets 5 millimeters closer to the fender. The smaller the stuff is, the more those little 1 millimeter changes start to show themselves. before we go ahead and look how empty that thing is. It's just empty in there. Let us see. I mean, I don't think carbon is the way, but that's all the way. We might get an occasional pop or ping here or there. What are we looking at underneath? What we're looking at is pretty good. Pretty good. Under the skid now, lowest point, 45? That's not bad. We're definitely going to have more clearance. Obviously, the tires are taller. But the taller tire is going to help approach. It's going to help departure. The front of the tire is about 5 or 6 millimeters back from the bumper. This is going to help. We're not taking that bumper off. We're not taking these dumb sliders off. You know what he could actually use? I don't think it's the rate. I think we could just use a little bit of rear preload. We need to set an endpoint. We need to find a 2200 that's got pixies in it. And it is not that one. If it's not the last battery that you check. I do genuinely believe that you've checked too many batteries. Third one. It's not bad. If you could see the size of the pile of batteries, you would agree that checking 3 is not bad. There's an 850 just out of frame that I know is at 100%, but this guy traditionally runs a 2200, and above and beyond that, we need the weight. It's a little high. I thought about putting it down here, but I would rather have it out. I'd rather... Oh, that's right. I was like, how come I can't turn that? Because the BEC is active. Okay. Endpoints. Y'all hear that? Why does it sound like it's trying to tune in to ancient radio broadcasts of times of yore? Okay, we've got a, I'm going to guess, rear axle. Let's see. Yeah. Front looks good. Whatever this drive shaft is, not a phenomenal fit. Shouldn't be able to do that. It's allowing the pinion to get a little too up close and personal with the ring gear. So, I will remedy that. I will set the endpoints. I will trim the steering so that we're pointing forward, and I will meet you outside, because by gum, I'm driving this. Rusty is going on the rocks now, because, oh yeah, this really turned into a thing. We roll out onto the course, 70, 2160, delightful breeze coming in from the west-southwest. This is prime driving season right now, and surprisingly, he tracked pretty straight out and wide open, about right. Could probably, maybe, go up one tooth. It could go to a 13. But he felt pretty good. I think the mesh is too tight. I think he's got some griny, some whiny growl, a little bit griny. Real slow. Those are blue silicones, and they are brand new. I think we need to break those down a little bit. They also need to get into that cooperation, collaboration phase. Why is he on silicones and not just the included inserts? Those wheels, those carbony wheels on that size of a tire, on a class 2, probably no problem with the open cell foam, but it did not like it. Okay. I went conservative on the end points. Should have gone easy side first. Not mad at it. If you squint real hard, you can't see that carbon. I mean, the approach and the improvement on the approach and the departure is truly impactful. Like, it is very noticeable how much easier it is for him to get onto obstacles. And that 80 with that big Holmes revolver in there is, if anything, too much. So this guy would be right at home on a Fusion 1800. We shed for a rig that has metal sliders and full inner fenders and all of those things. We shed a chunk of weight. I haven't stuck the bumper. I haven't stuck the bumper in anywhere yet. Oh, I had it and I gave it up. I think based on the combo, I think I'm often giving it just a little bit less throttle than he wants now. And that makes sense, because aside from the wheel tire, his appearance is still the exact same as his appearance always was. And I had to be so gentle on the trigger to try to keep his speed down, even in low gear. What are we at? What are we at? It almost sounds like a cog. Just kind of a chatter. I don't lose. That revolver's making some weird noises. Functionally, though, like, the response is there. Yeah, they stay down. This is, as I said, not my first, second, third, fourth. I don't think I like carbon wheels. The offset, though, that minus 14 to 16, which is what? Is that positive offset? Is it positive 14, right? I don't know. Anyway, from the bottom of the hex receptacle for the wheel hex to the back side of the wheel, 14 to 16 millimeters is where we need to be. So I've got to figure out how to make that happen. So a 14 millimeter hub on a flat face, that means if I just look at the wheel and if it looks like the face can dip in about six or 7 millimeters, and then I can work with it. If I absolutely have to, I can machine a 10 millimeter hub down to like an 8.5, you know, to get it right where we want. And we're on a thicky hex. We're on like a 10 millimeter hex, so it's like a +5 right there. So we've got room to work with, and that body is not super narrow. So better to have options than not. And I think I've already arrived at, or will arrive at, the conclusion that the 14 tooth is just fine. The insert feels the tiniest bit over firm, but not dramatically. The silicone is pretty good at this stuff. And I think I don't think it's the blue. I think it's the wheel. The inner ring on this type of wheel is thick. It collapses the veins down in the silicone upon installation. So it kind of makes the insert act firmer. I do have EVA inners that are class 1 sized and quite a substantial supply of fridge foam. So I can make him inserts, which is most likely what I will do once we get a wheel that I like. Once I find a wheel that I like. I feel like it almost needs to be a steely of some kind. The tusk is absolutely doing tusk things. You feel like you need to give it just that little more pop, and you give it that pop, and there's no rowdiness. It just goes. Doesn't get squirrely, doesn't get out of shape. Suspension be suspending. He feels incredibly planted despite picking up ground clearance, and I think it is because in the same moment that we picked up ground clearance, we dropped a bunch of weight. That low rotating mass does feel kind of nice. It does feel kind of nice. I don't know if I can mentally get my head around, do I just paint him rust color? Like, do we paint him tan? I want to steal it. Like, I'm looking at my live view right now, and he's smaller on the live view than he is in real life. In that live view, I can't see those carbon wheels. It just looks like black discs. And honestly, I'm fine with black discs. I'm going to hunt and find a steely similar to the other one with the little holes, the little triangle holes, not the big spokes. I feel like he needs that style of wheel, but not with the screw and nut assembly. Life is too short. I despise those wheels. We are truly, firmly into the realm of the net some good. The wheel tire insert combo is absolutely doing it in every box to be checked except for what does the wheel look like? In the what does the wheel look like checkbox, I go, ugh. Hold it up, stay up. I'm not mad about the 45 kg at all. It doesn't bother me that I have a live 10 amp external BEC, and I just recently told someone that I only run an external BEC as a last resort. It's true. I'm basically going to fry one, and then I'll run one. I'm not mad at it at all. But Gotta check that mesh. It's not the wheels. It's the question. It's the question that is looming above me, which is, are you going to put it through? Yes, I'm going to put it through gates. Let's do it. Let's run green line, and we'll know. Because when green line lasts through, he hit everything. He was an absolute marksman because he hit everything. And betwixt then and now, maintenance. Trim the trees. We'll be able to see. I got a little saucy right there. Do we have enough tire? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Okay. We haven't gotten into anything resembling technical yet, but he hit gate 1 last week. He ain't hitting it now. So we're already moving in the right direction. We should have better side hill support. Stay. Thank you. Sliders. And if I learn anything from... There we go. If I learn anything from last time to this time, it's don't try to approach on in some newfound way. Just come back on and try to better execute. Yeah, the insert, it feels dense. I kind of like his new, well, not new violent attitude. He's just kind of retained his violent attitude. Now, I don't know, there it is. That carbon wheel kind of sucked down. Y'all saw that steel slider just drag through, right? I did. Right here, bumper would usually auger in. What a difference 5 millimeters makes. Now I don't know if we need more spring rate in the back. It feels pretty good. Let's see right here. Drop down and grabbed. Nice. Don't want to initiate my turn just yet. I want to get this drop right here. Then we'll pull it. Little bumper pivot. Come on, Tusks. Be Tusks. Okay. We know exactly what happened there. We hung it up a little. So a strike that probably on another day isn't. Now we'll see that. We'll really see if we've induced any push. No. Got to be real conscious of that front pumpkin through here. So far, so good. He's just driving into darkness now. We're going to get the slide. Okay. You know what? I'm going to give the man a reset here for that. Because pulled the trigger, nothing there. Pulled the trigger a little more, everything there. So it may be a little punch drunk on the V80. We're going to try right here. Yeah. Just use that throttle. Good, 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 good. The steer angle feels great. So as I said, those are conservatively set endpoints, and I'm not touching them. Watching that pumpkin across the point right there. he drives long, not in a bad way. There's a certain point I did calibrate. Oh, that looked real nice. That looked real nice. And I don't know if we're quite... Oh, no way. We might hit white side because I might be too far over. No, we did not. Okay. I mean, it's not a little better. It does qualify as a canyon change because we didn't just swap the gearbox. But I'm not mad about any of it. It to the point where now the stupid, ugly carbon wheels give me concern, because this is one of those, do you dare? Do you dare? As long as it doesn't swing that rear end as far as I think that it might. Oh, look at that man. Oh, just lift it up over it. Oh, so nice. So I would like to point out that we're getting particularly far away from camera. I'd also like to point out, oh, look at that, just stay down. Look at that, stay down. Why haven't you rolled out? Again, for our man, it's all freebies today, because we had years of developing that feel, and feels the same a little bit, right? Geo's not changed, but a lot of the rest of it, like where I need to turn in and where he's going to stay and where he's not going to stay, that has changed a lot. For some reason, we're going to get that little right there. For some reason, that point where he feels like he's going to fall away, that move, the suspension feels really different. And I guess that makes sense. We didn't change damping, we didn't change springing, but taller tire, completely different insert, completely different behavior. This is a big change. His belly's still TRX for long. That's a solid Rusty move right there. He maintained that violence, and from here, can't even tell what kind of wheels he's on. That part genuinely works for me. Does our man survive a rematch against Voodoo Ranger? No. I mean, he is far closer to Class 1 than all of the 1.5 guys. C-channels, inner fenders, sliders, bumpers. None of the other guys have any of that. He's got the full body. And the tusks are a dramatic improvement. I was going to say not just because they're tusks. The Bounty Hunter is a great, weird little tire. But the Tusk is a great tire. As long as we don't go into it cold, as long as we don't go into it ice cold, and we are at this point, I don't have nearly enough wheel time to be any temperature other than ice cold. But as long as we don't go into it ice cold, Rusty retained the personality stayed. We did not change enough to, like, he's not somebody else now. That OD3 feels so much better on those F10s. So we'll get him. We'll get him some presents. When you look at him from the side, everything is so low. All of the electronics, the gearbox, everything is below the top rail, like where the shock tower is attached. He's super low, and that body is not that heavy. Ground clearance, approach, departure, everything improved because while we left the springing the same, we did drop weight. We probably dropped. I would not say it's a massive amount. 200 grams? Half a pound. Half a pound is a decent amount. And I think the mesh is a hair tight. It's a bit of a trick setting the mesh on an OD3. You have to do it through a peephole, basically. That was the first time I heard the donk of the front bumper. But right here, watch me give it that throttle, and it takes a good couple bumps before he slides out. It's a self-righting machine. And when he rolls, boy, does he roll to wheels. Let's get stupid. Go stupid. Just goes right to wheels. If anything, wheels aside, Rusty is even more rusty now than he was before. Yeah. We'll throw him a little bit of money. We'll get him a Mias drive shaft to match his front one. We know 110. They have one that's like a 96 110. That's the one that he needs. Wheels. Am I hating these less? I don't know. I think I'm still hating them. If we get some Steelies and he ends up staying on the carbons, I won't be mad about it. Could he benefit from the green? I'll order some of those too. Why not? He's a good guy. We had a good time. I hope you had a good time. I hope that you tune in to see whatever we have next. I sincerely hope that between now and when we meet again, you wouldn't all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the canyon. Can he still be as dumb as he was before? Of course he can. He's the man. He's rusty. The not oft-seen post-action report. When I picked him up, they can get out of the shed, they can't get back in. I think I figured it out. I did. I'm pretty sure I've figured it out, which is no problem. Yeah, if the gearbox is hotter than the motor, you may have set your gear mesh a little tight. So, I noted, probably easier to see here from the top. Oh. A little right there, a little right there. I do believe what happened is when he was making that approach into 4, I believe we got in just to such a point where I have to do it over again, I think. I gotta figure something out. We've got to make a little that comes off of this skid plate. Motor, because look at that guy's just out in the open. I think the motor was actually on the rock, and when I turned it, that's why it went from nothing. It went, and then it went bazang. Yeah, I do believe that is what happened there. That and a combination of a little bit of tightness on the mesh. For for a semi-ghost ride, despite him being painted and having been around for a good long minute, that went extraordinarily well. Because I wanted to retain the DNA of Rusty. I never did dial that preload in. He basically sits bottomed out in the rear the whole time. And almost bottomed out in the front. I don't know. Let me know. Comments below. What are we missing? What did we miss? Like, this is why that wheel selection is going to be so tough.